Dr. Kim Hana walked through the cold white hallways of the big government building on Kepler Prime. Her hands were empty now, because the security guards had taken away her research computer. She felt angry, but tried not to show it. The alien, Judge, was very tall and looked like he was made of clear glass or crystal. His body glowed with a soft light that got brighter when he was mad. Right now, he was very mad. His name was Arbitrator Velthar, and he did not like humans very much. "Here we go again," Velthar said in a loud voice. His crystal body flashed with annoyed light. "Another human trying to steal from our computer systems. You people never learn." Hana stood very still and straight. She had seen this happen many times before in other places. She knew exactly what was coming next. The alien judge would give her a big fine to pay, much bigger than what other people got for the same thing. "You are guilty of doing research without permission," Velthar continued, looking down at her like she was something dirty on his shoe. "You stole our data. You caused trouble in our peaceful colony. You must pay 5,000 credits right now." 5,000 credits was a lot of money. Most colonists worked for months to earn that much. Hana knew this was not fair. She had watched other people get fined for the same thing, and humans with dark skin like hers always got the biggest fines. Humans with lighter skin paid much less. Sometimes they did not have to pay anything at all. "That seems like a very high amount," Hana said in a calm voice. She did not shout or get angry, even though she wanted to. Velthar made a sound like breaking glass, which was how his people laughed. "Oh, you think you can argue with me? You think you know better than a colonial arbitrator?" He looked at his computer screen for just a few seconds, not really reading anything. "Let me guess. You have some fake papers that say you are important. You have some story about why you were really here. All you humans have the same lies." Hana reached into her pocket slowly, so the guards would not think she had a weapon. She pulled out a small card with her name and picture on it. "I do have identification. Perhaps you would like to see it." Velthar waved one of his crystal hands like he was shooing away a fly. "I do not need to see your fake papers. Save your breath, pay the fine, or go to jail. Those are your only choices." The security guards stood on both sides of Hana. They were humans, but they worked for the colonial government. They looked uncomfortable but did not say anything. They needed their jobs to feed their families. "Sir," one of the guards said quietly, "maybe we should look at her papers, just to be sure." Velthar's body flashed bright red with anger. "Are you telling me how to do my job? She is obviously just another poor colonist trying to make trouble. Look at her. Does she look like someone important to you?" Hana knew what he meant. Her skin was darker than many of the other humans on the colony. She dressed simply and did not wear expensive clothes. To Velthar, she looked like all the other humans he liked to push around. "I understand you have made your decision," Hana said politely, "but I told you I will be challenging this fine through the proper legal channels." This made Velthar even more angry. His crystal body got so bright that everyone had to look away for a moment. Challenge it? With what money? With what lawyer? You cannot even pay a simple fine. He typed something into his computer very fast, making clicking sounds with his crystal fingers. "There. The fine is now official. You have 24 hours to pay, or we will put you in jail and then send you back to Earth on the next transport ship." Hana nodded once. "I understand. May I have a copy of the official citation?" "Guards, give her the papers and get her out." "Of my sight," Velthar said. He was already looking at his next case, dismissing her like she was not important enough to think about anymore. One of the human guards handed Hana a piece of paper with all the details of her fine written on it. He looked sorry but could not say anything while his boss was watching. As Hana walked toward the exit, she heard Velthar talking to his assistant about lunch plans. He had already forgotten about her completely. To him, she was just another human who would pay the fine or disappear. Either way, he did not care, but Velthar had made a very big mistake. He had not looked at Hana's identification card. He had not checked her background in the computer system. He had not asked why she was really on Kepler Prime. If he had done any of these things, he would have learned something very important. Dr. Kim Hana was not just any human colonist. She was not poor and she was not powerless. She was someone who could change his life forever. Hana walked out of the building into the bright sunlight of Kepler Prime, holding the citation paper in her hand. She looked at it once, then put it carefully in her pocket. It was time to make some phone calls. Arbitrator Velthar had no idea who he had just found. If he had taken just 1 minute to check Dr. Kim Hana's real identity, he would have been very scared. But he was too proud and too sure of himself to bother looking. Dr. Hana was not just any researcher. For 3 whole years, she had been traveling from planet to planet, colony to colony, pretending to be a regular person. But she was actually doing very important secret work for Earth's government. Her job was to watch and record how alien judges treated humans in court. She would sit in courtrooms for hours, taking notes on her special tablet computer. She wrote down everything: how much money people had to pay for breaking small rules, how long they had to stay in jail, and most importantly, she noticed something very bad. The alien judges were not fair to all humans. They treated humans with light skin much better than humans with dark skin. When a pale human broke a rule, they might have to pay 100 credits. But when a dark-skinned human like Hana broke the exact same rule, they had to pay 340 credits, more than 3 times as much money. Hana had numbers and proof from 12 different star systems. She had recorded thousands of court cases. The math was very clear. The alien judges were being mean to humans because of how they looked. But Velthar did not know any of this. He thought Hana was just another poor human trying to cause trouble. What made this even worse for Velthar was that Hana was not just any researcher. She worked directly for the most important people on Earth. The Terran Federation Council had sent her to Kepler Prime themselves. She had special papers that said she could go anywhere and do any research she needed to do. These papers were so important that even the colonial governor, Velthar's boss's boss, would have to do whatever Hana asked. She had what Earth people called diplomatic immunity. This meant that no one could arrest her or fine her for doing her job. She was protected by the most powerful laws in the galaxy. In her tablet computer that the guards had taken away, Hana had stored 3 years of evidence. There were video recordings of unfair trials, audio files of judges saying mean things about humans, and thousands of pages of research data. This information was so important that it could change how justice worked on every planet where humans and aliens lived together. The tablet also had secret messages between Hana and the most important leaders on Earth. They were planning something big, something that would make life better for humans everywhere. But there was something even more important that Velthar did not know. Dr. Kim Hana was not just collecting evidence about unfair treatment. She was the person writing the new laws that would fix everything. For 2 years, Hana had been working late into the night, writing page after page of new rules. These rules would make sure that all judges had to treat everyone fairly, no matter what they looked like or where they came from. The rules would create special computers that could watch trials and make sure no one was being treated badly because of their skin color. The new laws were called the Galactic Justice Reform Initiative. It was a very long document with hundreds of pages, but the main idea was simple. Everyone deserves to be treated fairly in court. In exactly 30 days, Hana would stand up in front of representatives from every planet in the galaxy. She would present her evidence and her new laws to the Universal Assembly. This was like the biggest court in the universe, where delegates from different worlds came together to make decisions that affected everyone. The Universal Assembly met only once every 5 years. When they agreed on new laws, every planet had to follow them. If Hana's laws were accepted, it would change everything for humans living on alien worlds. Earth's government had spent millions of credits and years of planning to get ready for this presentation. They had chosen Hana because she was the smartest person they knew for this kind of work. She had studied law and math and alien cultures. She spoke 7 different alien languages and understood how their societies worked. The research tablet that was now sitting on some guard's desk contained the most important evidence that would be presented to the Universal Assembly. Without it, Hana's presentation would be much weaker. But Hana was not worried. She had backup copies of everything stored safely on Earth. She also had something even more valuable now. She had personal experience of exactly the kind of unfair treatment she had been studying. When she told the Universal Assembly about how arbitrator Velthar had treated her, it would not just be research data, it would be a real story that happened to her personally. Everyone would understand that this was not just numbers on a page. This was real life for millions of humans living on alien worlds. Velthar thought he had just dealt with another troublesome human. He had no idea that he had just given Hana the perfect example to prove everything she had been saying for 3 years. Sometimes the best evidence comes from the most unexpected places. Dr. Kim Hana walked into the big Earth Embassy building and asked to speak with someone important. The secretary at the front desk looked at the citation paper Hana showed her, and her eyes got very wide. "Oh my," the secretary said quietly. "Please wait here. I need to get Ambassador Park right away." The secretary pressed a red button on her desk and spoke into her headset very fast. "Ambassador Park, we have an emergency situation. Dr. Kim Hana is here and she has been cited by the colonial courts." Ambassador Park Ji-won was eating lunch in his office when he heard this message. He dropped his sandwich and ran down the hall, so fast that his shoes made squeaking sounds on the floor. "Dr. Hana," he said when he saw her, "what happened? Are you hurt? Do you need medical attention?" Hana showed him the citation paper. Ambassador Park read it once, then read it again. His face got very red and he started breathing heavily, like he had just run a long race. "They fined you 5,000 credits, he said in a loud voice. "For doing research? The research that our government sent you here to do." He grabbed his phone and started dialing numbers very fast. "Get me Dr. Lee Minho from Colonial Relations. Right now, this is an emergency." Within 5 minutes, Dr. Lee Minho came running into the embassy. He was out of breath and looked very worried. "What happened? Is there a war? Did someone attack our ships?" Ambassador Park handed him the citation paper. Dr. Lee read it, and his mouth fell open. "Oh no, no, this is very bad." "How bad?" Ambassador Park asked. "This is the worst thing that could happen right now," Dr. Lee said. "Do you know what Dr. Hana is doing here? Do you know why Earth sent her to this planet?" Ambassador Park suddenly looked very pale. "She is preparing for the Universal Assembly presentation." She is not just preparing for it," Dr. Lee said. "She is the presentation. She is the person who will decide whether Earth continues to trade with Kepler Prime or not. She is the person who will tell the Universal Assembly whether this planet treats humans fairly." Both men looked at Hana, who was sitting quietly in her chair. She did not look upset or angry. She looked like someone who was thinking very carefully about what to do next. "And now," Dr. Lee continued, "she has personal experience of being treated unfairly by their court system. This is not just research data anymore. This is something that happened to her personally." Ambassador Park sat down heavily in his chair. "We need to call Earth Command immediately. They need to know about this." He picked up a special red phone that was only used for the most important calls. "This is Ambassador Park on Kepler Prime. I need to speak with Director Chen at Earth Command. Tell her it is about Dr. Hana and the Universal Assembly presentation." While they waited for the call to go through, Dr. Lee was typing very fast on his computer. "I am sending emergency messages to all the department heads. They need to know." "What happened?" The red phone rang and Ambassador Park answered it immediately. "Director Chen, we have a problem, a big problem." He explained what had happened to Dr. Hana. On the other end of the phone, Director Chen was quiet for a long time. "Let me understand this correctly," Director Chen finally said. "The person who will represent Earth at the most important legal proceeding in galactic history has just been personally discriminated against by the exact same court system she was studying." "Yes, ma'am," Ambassador Park said. "And they have no idea who she is?" "No, ma'am. They treated her like any other human colonist." Director Chen was quiet again. Then she said, "This could actually be very good for us. Dr. Hana now has the perfect example to show the Universal Assembly. But we need to handle this very carefully." Meanwhile, at the Colonial Administration building, someone was reading the daily reports and noticed something strange. Dr. Kim Hana had filed a formal challenge to her citation, and she had used some very special legal codes that most people did not know about. The clerk who noticed this ran to his supervisor. "Sir, I think we may have made a mistake. This woman who was cited today, She is using diplomatic legal codes. The supervisor looked at the codes and his face went white. Get me the colonial governor immediately and find out everything you can about this Dr. Kim Hana. It took them 30 minutes to find out who Hana really was. When they did, the colonial governor started shouting so loud that people in the next building could hear him. "You idiots find Baho," he yelled. "Do you have any idea what you have done? Do you know how much money Earth spends on trade with our planet every year?" He called Arbitrator Velthar's office immediately. "I need to see Velthar in my office right now, and I mean right now." When Velthar arrived, the governor was pacing back and forth like a caged animal. "You find Dr. Kim Hana today," he said. "Yes. Sir? Just another human trying to cause trouble," Velthar replied. The governor threw a folder at Velthar. "Read this. Read it and tell me if she is just another human." Velthar opened the folder and read the first page. His crystal body started flickering with fear. "This cannot be right." "It is right," the governor said. "And now you are going to fix this mess immediately." The news about what happened to Dr. Kim Hana traveled very fast. Every human on Kepler Prime heard about it within hours. They used their personal computers and phones to tell their friends and family on other planets. Soon, humans all across the galaxy knew that one of Earth's most important researchers had been treated badly by an alien judge. This was not just any news story. Dr. Hana was famous among humans who lived on alien worlds. They had read her research papers and knew she was trying to help them. When they heard that she had been fined unfairly, just like so many of them had been, they got very angry. Maria Santos lived in the human district of Kepler Prime. She had been fined 3 times in the past year for small things like walking too slowly or talking too loudly. Each time she had to pay much more money than her pale-skinned neighbor who did the same things. When she heard about Dr. Hana, she started crying. "Finally," she told her husband, "someone important knows what we go through every day. All across the human colonies on Kepler Prime, people were having the same conversation. They had been treated unfairly for years, but no one with power had listened to them. Now someone with real power had experienced exactly what they experienced every day. 3 days after the citation incident, a big Earth military ship arrived at Kepler Prime. Captain Yoon Tae-hyung stepped off the ship with 20 other people. They were all wearing official Earth government uniforms and carrying computers and cameras. "I am here to investigate reports of discrimination against human citizens," Captain Yoon announced to the colonial authorities. "We will be interviewing colonists and reviewing court records." The colonial governor met Captain Yoon at the spaceport. He was sweating and looked very nervous. "Captain, I am sure we can resolve this matter quickly. Perhaps there was just a misunderstanding." Captain Yoon looked at him with cold eyes. "There was no misunderstanding. One of Earth's most important legal experts was discriminated against in your courts. We are here to find out if this is a pattern." Dr. Choi Sumin was part of Captain Yoon's team. She worked for the Human Rights Commission, which was a special Earth organization that protected humans living on other planets. Her job was to talk to the human colonists and find out what had really been happening. She set up a small office in the human district and put up signs saying, "Free legal help, all stories welcome." Within an hour, there was a long line of people waiting to talk to her. The first person was an old man named Roberto Chen. "They fined me 2,000 credits for having a dirty sidewalk," he told Dr. Choi. "But my alien neighbor had an even dirtier sidewalk, and they did not fine him anything." The second person was a young woman named Lisa Park. "I got arrested for being out after 10 at night, but alien people can stay out as late as they want. The rule only seems to apply to humans." Dr. Choi talked to 50 people that day. Every single one had a story about being treated unfairly. She recorded all their stories and took pictures of their citation papers. The pattern was very clear. Humans were being treated much worse than aliens for the same actions. That evening, Dr. Choi called Dr. Hana at the embassy. "Your research was completely correct," she said, "but it is actually worse than you documented. These people have been suffering for years." Dr. Hana was not surprised, but she was sad. "Now we have enough evidence to change everything," she said. The next day, there was an emergency meeting at the Colonial Administration Building. All the important colonial leaders were there, along with Captain Yoon and his team from Earth. Dr. Hana stood up to speak. She looked very calm and professional. 3 years ago, I began researching how human colonists are treated in alien court systems. I collected data from thousands of cases across 12 star systems. The numbers showed clear discrimination. She paused and looked around the room. But numbers are just numbers. Yesterday, I experienced this discrimination personally. Arbitrator Velthar fined me 5,000 credits without even looking at my identification. He assumed I was just another troublesome human because of how I look. The colonial leaders looked uncomfortable. They knew she was right. This single incident proves everything I have been saying for 3 years, Dr. Hana continued. The discrimination against humans in colonial courts is not accidental. It is systematic and deliberate. Captain Yoon stood up next. Dr. Choi has interviewed dozens of human colonists in the past 3 days. Every single one has experienced discrimination. This is not just about Dr. Hana anymore. This is about thousands of human citizens who have been treated unfairly. The colonial governor raised his hand. What do you want us to do? First, Captain Yoon said, Arbitrator Velthar will be suspended immediately. He cannot judge humans fairly. Second, all unfair fines imposed on humans in the past year will be refunded. Third, you will implement new training for all court officials about treating humans fairly. The colonial governor nodded quickly. Yes, we can do all of that. But Captain Yoon was not finished. If these changes are not made within 30 days, Earth will stop all trade with Kepler Prime. That includes the food shipments that feed half your population. Now the colonial leaders looked very scared. They needed Earth's trade to survive. Doctor, Hana smiled for the first time since the incident. Her research had finally led to real change. 1 month later, Dr. Kim Hana stood in the biggest meeting room in the galaxy. The Universal Assembly Hall was enormous, with seats for representatives from 47 different planets and species. Some delegates looked like humans, others looked like giant insects, and some looked like living crystals or flowing water. Dr. Hana had given many presentations before, but never one this important. Today, she would ask all these different species to change their laws to protect humans and other minorities living on alien worlds. She walked to the center of the room and activated the holographic display. Images of court documents and legal papers appeared in the air above her head, translated into dozens of different languages so everyone could understand. Honorable delegates, she began, I am here to tell you about something that happened to me 30 days ago on Kepler Prime. The room became very quiet. Everyone was listening carefully. I was doing research in a colonial courthouse when I was stopped by security guards. The arbitrator, without looking at my credentials or asking about my purpose, fined me 5,000 credits. He treated me unfairly because of how I looked, because I am a human with dark skin. She paused and looked around the room. But I am not here just to complain about one incident. I am here because this same unfair treatment happens to millions of people across the galaxy every day. The holographic display showed charts and graphs with thousands of numbers. For 3 years, I studied court records from 12 different star systems. The data is clear. Humans and other minority species are treated much worse than the dominant species on each planet. A delegate from the Andorian system raised her hand. Dr. Hana, how do we know this is really a problem and not just a few isolated cases? Dr. Hana smiled sadly. Because it happened to me personally. I experienced exactly what my research predicted would happen. The arbitrator assumed I was just another poor colonist trying to cause trouble. He never imagined I was the person who would be standing here today asking you to change the laws. The room buzzed with quiet conversations as delegates talked among themselves. They understood that this was not just about numbers and statistics anymore. This was about real people being hurt by unfair laws. I propose the Galactic Fair Justice Accords, Dr. Hana continued. These new rules will ensure that everyone receives fair treatment in court, regardless of what they look like or where they come from. She explained the 3 main parts of her proposal. First, all courts would use special computer programs to detect unfair treatment. These programs would watch trials and alert officials if someone was being treated badly because of their species or appearance. Second, all judges and court officials would receive training about different cultures and species. They would learn to recognize their own prejudices and work to overcome them. Third, any court case involving different species would have observers from both groups present. This would ensure that everyone was being treated fairly. The debate went on for 3 days. Some delegates worried that the new rules would be too expensive. Others thought they were not necessary. But many delegates had their own stories of unfair treatment, and they supported Dr. Hana's proposal. On the final day of voting, something amazing happened. Every single delegate voted yes. All 47 species agreed that the Galactic Fair Justice Accords should become law. Dr. Hana started crying when she heard the results. She had worked for years to reach this moment, and now it was finally happening. The first place to test the new laws was Kepler Prime, where Dr. Hana had been treated unfairly. Arbitrator Velthar was removed from his job and sent to a different planet. A new arbitrator named Judge Carthin was brought in to replace him. Judge Carthin was very different from Velthar. She was careful and fair, and she worked with human legal advisors to make sure everyone was treated equally. She studied the new computer programs that detected unfair treatment, and she took classes to learn about human culture. The results were incredible. Within 6 months, the unfair treatment of humans in Kepler Prime courts dropped by 89%. Humans and aliens were finally being treated the same way for the same crimes. Maria Santos, the woman who had been fined 3 times for small violations, went to court again 6 months later for a minor traffic violation. This time she was treated with respect and given the same small fine that anyone else would have received. "I cannot believe how different it is now," she told her husband. "They actually listened to me and treated me like a real person." Other planets began implementing the new laws as well. The computer programs that detected unfair treatment were installed in thousands of courthouses across the galaxy. Judges and court officials attended training sessions to learn about different cultures. Dr. Hana traveled from planet to planet, helping to set up the new systems and training court officials. Everywhere she went, people thanked her for making their lives better. 2 years after the incident with arbitrator Velthar, Dr. Hana received a message from the Universal Assembly. They wanted to give her a special award for her work in promoting fair treatment across the galaxy. At the award ceremony, she looked out at the audience of delegates from dozens of different species. What started as personal discrimination became universal justice, she said. Sometimes the worst experiences in our lives can lead to the best changes for everyone. The unfair fine that was supposed to silence her had instead given her the perfect example to change laws across the entire galaxy.